So we're finally here. We're finally to the end. And this season in MLS in general have felt like the longest season ever so far in this decade. Ever since I've been watching in 2021. And if you've been watching this league and everything that is associated with it since February, that includes US Open Cup, CCL, and Leagues Cup. You probably have this same feeling too, that this season felt like forever. It truly felt like a full calendar year. And from a business standpoint, that's success. From a financial growth standpoint, that is a net positive. There's no doubt in my mind that every American sports league will love to maximize its profit throughout the whole entire calendar year and not just half a year. When I say whole calendar year, I'm talking about being active on the field for a whole calendar year. And arguably speaking, you being active MLS from February to December, that's almost 12 months. If you include preseason, which is in January, that's basically a full calendar year. From January through December, that's basically a whole calendar year. And based on some of the details that's been coming out of the state of the league press conference, it looked like this business model is here to stay for a very long time. And I, for one, don't have a problem with that. As long as it leads to the salary cap increasing. That's the main thing I'm focused on. That's the main thing I've been preaching on. I haven't been one of those guys preaching about a 4th DP spot, because I always knew there was some uncertainty behind it, and come to find out, it was just another false rumor. Realistically, I think that a salary cap increase is more likely this off season than any other rule change. But I'm not going to get too much into off season talk. MLS Cup Championship. LAFC Columbus. Both teams have won nothing this year. So far. We already know the multiple chances LAFC had, and to be honest, it was tough. And a lot of those guys probably haven't been in this situation before, where you have an opportunity to win multiple major championships within a year. a lot of the guys were new to this. Not only the players, but people in the front office, coaches, fans. This was brand new. I don't know what LAFC's mindset is entering into MLS Cup Championship this afternoon in Columbus, Ohio. Well, one thing I know, a lot of fans, supporters of LAFC, they may be feeling down because of the MLS punishment that was announced this week about 3252 being indefinitely suspended at least through the first half of 2024. I don't think it's going to be very long. I think this investigation is going to be expedited, and I honestly think the suspension is just going to be 1 month. Before St. Patrick's Day, no later than St. Patrick's Day, I think 3252 will be back to normal. No later than St. Patrick's Day of next year. That's my honest opinion. Anyhow, a lot of LAFC fans are thinking that MLS don't like them, that MLS wants to see them fail, that MLS don't like it that they're growing faster than any other club in North America. Yeah, I said North America. LAFC is growing faster than any Liga MX club. They're growing faster than any Canadian club. It's not only MLS. LAFC is the fastest growing professional soccer club in North America. Ever since they hit the ground running in the last decade, this club has shown signs that they want to be great. And I think ever since the last decade when they started play, they probably only had like one bad season. Probably one bad season, and that was in 2021. LAFC. LAFC fans. Before I talk about LAFC fans. MLS is not your enemy. MLS does not want to stunt your growth. They don't want to slow down your growth. Your true enemy, LAFC, are other MLS fans. Galaxy fans, Seattle fans, Portland fans, Minnesota fans, Houston fans, Dallas fans, Columbus fans. They hate you, not out of despise. They hate you out of envy. They wish that their fandom was as passionate and fervor as you. They wish their supporter group was just as thrilling as 3252. LAFC fans, other MLS fans want to be like you, but they're not. That's why they don't like you. Because they want to be like you, but they're not good enough to be like you. That's why they're celebrating the indefinite suspension. Because every time they see you, they look at themselves in the mirror and they feel bad because they're like, well, why my fan group can't be like them? Why we can't be fun and exciting like 3252? See, LAFC, you're a renegade. You're a disruptor. You're a disruptor in a good way, though. Not an evil way. You're not a disruptor in a way that you're trying to destroy the league. You're not a disruptor in a way where you're trying to make the league look bad. LAFC, I'm talking to everybody now that's involved with LAFC. Players, coaches, organization, owners, everybody who's connected to LAFC. LAFC, you're a disruptor in a way where you're challenging the status quo of MLS. You're challenging the status quo for them to do better. You are telling the entire MLS nation, do better, do more. Increase the salary cap. Enable us to improve our roster so we can compete, be able to compete against the Mexicans every year. Not only compete, so we can dominate the Mexicans every year. So no matter if we play the Mexican, whether it's Leagues Cup, CCC, Campeones Cup, Nations League, anything that will involve an MLS versus Liga MX competition, every time we face them, we dominate them. Because for the past 5 or 6 decades, the 2010s, the 90s, the 80s, well, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010, for the past 3 decades, they've been dominating us. They have been the better league. But now in the 2020s, we are putting our foot down and we're saying no more. No mas. No mas. That's what we're saying. And LAFC, you're the one that's leading that charge. Before Leo Messi, you challenged the status quo and brought in Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale, we know he's not as big as Messi. We know. But you were the team that said, we are no longer going to sit down and watch good players play in other countries. We are going to bring good players into America. And we're going to give American sports fans the type of entertainment that they want to see. We're going to give American sports fans the type of entertainment that they want to see. It started with you, LAFC. You're the renegade, LAFC. And when you step on that field this afternoon in Columbus, Ohio, you need to have a me against the world mentality. Because you know, LAFC, the world is watching. Whenever you step on that field, North America is watching. South America is watching. Asia, Europe, Africa. You are the one MLS team that the whole world pays attention to. As a result of that, as of now, in popularity-wise, you're the most popular club in MLS. You are the biggest brand in MLS as of right now, based on popularity. And MLS knows that. That's why MLS didn't want to punish you. But because a lot of fans, other fans, were complaining about fairness, which is something that I personally don't believe in, but they're complaining about fairness. And because this game will be, nationally televised on Fox for the first time ever, because Most MLS games are broadcast on FS1 or FS2, and if there's an FS3, it's probably broadcast on FS3. But for the first time ever this season, the game will be on Fox's main channel, the same channel where they broadcast their beloved Dallas Cowboys. That type of Fox is going to be broadcasting this game this afternoon. So more people, they're expecting higher numbers. So MLS didn't want negative publicity entering this match. So that's why I believe they put down the punishment. It was a PR move, LAFC. Your enemy is not MLS. Your enemy is the other MLS teams and their fans. They're jealous of you. So, LAFC, you know how you should respond to them? Make them matter. Make them even more jealous. Make them even more envious. Make them cry. You do that by winning. You do that by winning. Earning another star. That's how you do it, LAFC. You know, the one team in particular that is hoping you don't win, the one team in particular who had the loudest voices in saying that you should be punished, LA Galaxy fans. LA Galaxy fans are fearful. They don't want you to catch up to them. You get it 1 star this afternoon? That's 3 more needed for you to tie with them as being the most accomplished team in Major League Soccer. They don't want that to happen. LAFC, you get a star and you make their Christmas miserable. You win a championship this afternoon to make LA Galaxy fans and the entire LA Galaxy ecosystem, the entire Galaxy nation, you make their Christmas miserable. Because we know with you, when you win a major title, the party never stops. And if you get another trophy, we already know what you're going to do. That trophy is going to have an entire LA tour. But this time, the tour is not going to be limited to LA. The tour is going to be expanded to the entire state of California. You're going to rub it in LA Galaxy fans' faces and San Jose Earthquake fans' faces and those fans down there in San Diego. Make their Christmas miserable, LAFC. Make every MLS fan Christmas miserable. Make them even more jealous and make them even more envious of you. Now, as for Columbus Crew, you are heavy favorites in this match, as in MLS fans. Because of their envy and jealousy, that's causing them to have disdain for LAFC. They don't want LAFC to be successful. That's why they're hoping you win in your home ground. I saw Columbus Crew supporter group, the Nordeck. They were heavily loud and vocal on social media. And this is the first time I've ever seen the Nordeck being this active on social media this whole season long. Usually they're quiet like a mouse. But this week in particular, They have been very active, more active than normal on social media. That is the effect of the aura that LAFC brings, the energy that LAFC brings. LAFC's energy causes people to be uncomfortable. But for you, Columbus Crew, the players in particular, you're ready for this. Every game you entered in and played this entire playoff, you weren't afraid of anybody. And you have had a championship mentality all year, or all playoff long. And it starts with Cucho Hernandez. Last offseason, when the Crew didn't make the playoffs, I was one of those guys who was very angry. Because I was not only surprised about the instant impact that Cucho Hernandez had on the team, I loved his play. And this is a guy that is going to help the league become more popular by his play. And he's very exciting and fun to watch. It's very rare that we see a guy from Europe come to America and play at a high level and want to be great in MLS and want to be successful in MLS and want to help MLS become a popular league that people want to watch. We saw what happened in Toronto, or what's happening in Toronto right now. The two Italians, they're spending their entire offseason lamenting about being in MLS, lamenting about living in Canada, and pleading with their agents to get them back to Italy. Those two Italian guys in Toronto, they're the typical guys. They come here for either retirement purposes or money. In their two cases, they probably just came for the money. For more money, they're probably offering more money through the DP spot. They got paid. They never liked MLS to begin with. And now they're just finding a way to go. It was a business move for them. But for Cucho Hernandez has been the ultimate European professional. And that same spirit of being the ultimate professional has spread throughout the entire team. You have a guy like Diego Rossi. He came back to MLS. No complaints about travel and weather and playoffs. The fire and the fervor of Cucho Hernandez is what put Columbus in position to earn their third star. That's why I was so angry last year when Columbus didn't make the playoffs, and I said somebody needed to be punished. Whether it was the coach, front office, GM, somebody needed to be punished because Columbus missing the playoffs with a Cucho Hernandez on that roster, it is unacceptable. And I'm going to repeat myself again. As long as Cucho Hernandez is on this roster, we need to see Columbus Crew in the playoffs every year. He's the man. It starts with him. From a player's perspective now, we know Coach Wilfred Nassie, and yes, he is a good coach. And he's going to attract a lot of good MLS free agents this offseason. But I'm talking about from a player perspective, from a player standpoint. It starts with Cucho Hernandez. He's the one that have brought Columbus back to life. He has been the one revived the entire Columbus ecosystem, the Columbus Crew ecosystem. He's the one who brought life back to it. And having soccer fans in Columbus, Ohio, believing that they're national title contenders. It started with Cucho Hernandez. And with that being said, I like to say thank you, Cucho Hernandez, for coming to MLS with a positive attitude, for coming to MLS with a championship mindset, for coming to MLS with a desire to help this league become more entertaining. Thank you, Cucho Hernandez. Regardless of how this game ends, the outcome of this game, you are greatly appreciated. But not only Columbus Crew fans, but MLS fans in general. And so with that being said, Columbus, you got to give us a history lesson this afternoon. In order for you to win this afternoon, Columbus Crew, you have to give us a history lesson. You are the last pioneer standing. And so far in this decade, Columbus Crew, you have been the only legacy flagship club to make an appearance in the MLS Cup final. That means something that is very important. And that's something you can't forget. And you cannot go 0-2. You cannot go 0-2 in the MLS Cup finals in 4 seasons or 3 seasons. 3 or 4 seasons. I'll say 3 years since 2020. Excuse me, my bad. You actually won in 2020. My bad. You actually won in 2020. So now you want to go 2-0. You want to stay undefeated in MLS Cup championship matches in the 2020s. That would be something good to brag about. So just keep that in mind, Columbus Crew. And I'll close with a message for both of you clubs, LAFC and Columbus Crew. Both of you clubs have an opportunity to earn an additional star. That's very important. You see, what makes MLS Cup more prestigious than any other championship is the star. You don't earn a star for Supporter Shield. You don't earn a star for Conference Championship. You don't earn a star for Leagues Cup. You don't earn a star for US Open Cup. But you earn that star in MLS Cup. And the star is what separates you from everyone else. The star is what causes you to stand out. The star is what causes you to be noticeable. Because when people look at your logo and when people look at your crest, they see that star. Then they want to know, okay, what is that star all about? This must be a special club if they have a star on top of the crest. I see other clubs, they don't have stars on top of their crest. But this particular club, they have a star on their crest. What does that star mean? That star must be special. Because when people think about stars in general, they think about fame. They think about royalty. They think about glory. So when people see the star on top of your crest, they think this must be a really good team. don't underestimate the importance of the star. Because there's a lot of MLS clubs who have stars and you don't see it on top of their crest. They don't honor the star. MLS, we need to get back to honoring the star. Because the star is what separates the good clubs from the average clubs. This is not about parity when it comes to being great. It's okay for the clubs that are better to have their own clique, to have their own level. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's what the star does. So both of you clubs should keep that in mind as you step on this field this afternoon.